You saw that? That's what it takes to be a House of Glory wrestler. A 3-time X Division champion. What was it? 2-time ROH champion, tag team champion. And what I did?
TNA tag champion?
Oh, TNA tag champion. I gave him a black eye. You know what? Whatever champion he was, I blew him up. You know, the new generation is coming. The generation of Mr. 365. The generation of the greatest thing since the invention of the microwave. The generation of Mr. Panty Dropper himself, Alex Reyes.
Real talk. One of the greatest talents ever in professional wrestling history. I'm not talking about the indies or WWE of all time.
I still think he's
amazing.
Red. People don't understand how great he really is.
He went from being a local phenomenon to an international superstar. Going from New York to all over the United States of America to Puerto Rico to Japan. That people don't realize he did a great tour for all Japan wrestling. I'm talking about you, man. I'm saying about that. I wanted to say that this guy is a great talent. And I appreciate what he's given to the industry. He's one of the most humble men I've ever met in my life. He puts God first, and he's truly blessed with ability, with family, with friends. Genuinely a good guy. I love Red a lot, man.
Red was always known he could do amazing things, flipping, and of course, like nobody else, like nobody's business, he could flip. So apparently the promoter, Frank Goodman, wanted me to go in there with Red and wanted us to do a bunch of flippity-doo-dah. So apparently, of course, I wasn't wrestling as long as Red, so he was leading the match. So I pretty much just followed him. So this happened in one of the days where Red wanted to show that USA Pro crowd how much he could wrestle.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't even taking it easy. It was just like we were really wrestling. We were going at it. And I remember Frank Goodman coming up to the ring in the middle of the match. He taps on the mat and he goes, "Start flipping."
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's exactly what exactly what Red goes. Red goes, is this guy serious?
I would have known.
We should have hit the rim, stuff going right to the outside. Start flipping.
That's hilarious.
Red started flipping.
Really?
Okay. Which means I've known Red for, wow, close to 11 years. I want to say I met him first in ECWA, but I got to know him over the course of my career through Ring of Honor and TNA, of course. And I think the one thing about Red that he stands out, he's touched the fans in the same way that Rey Mysterio has touched the fans. He sort of stood out with his athleticism and his ability and his high flying. You know, there's so many cookie cutter wrestlers in the world. Red, you know, his size and his stature aside, he stood out. You know what I mean? The mentality of most people is that professional wrestlers have to be big, strong, muscular, and Red, you know, Red is a shorter guy, he's a smaller guy, but he uses his size to his advantage rather than his disadvantage. And it's funny too, now that he's gone from Ring of Honor and gone from TNA, you hear so many fans clamoring to bring him back, and so many fans clamoring for his style to be in the ring, and that's what I've always known about Red, is that his style stands out. One of the greatest high flyers I've ever been in the ring with, one of the greatest high flyers I've ever seen. And to me, if he had been given an opportunity, you know, I feel like he could have been at that same level as Rey Mysterio. He's that dynamic of a character and that dynamic of an athlete. But I mean, he's still young. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. So hopefully, at some point, somebody's going to give him that opportunity and sort of put the rocket on him, and he'll reach the amount of fans that he deserves.
You see, that little guy, he busts my lip, man. I always say that the little ones are the most dangerous people in wrestling. The heavyweights, the big man, is strong, powerful, easily could dump you in the head and get a concussion. The little guys are sneaky, like a snake. You gotta see this little guy, the back of your head, man. And the Mason Red, he's quiet. He's a little teddy bear, but to me, he's like one of the sneakiest, dangerous, quiet person in the industry. As myself, I'm dangerous, but Red is somebody that you cannot sleep on. Because Red is a person, like I say, is quiet, shook your hand, how's the wife and kids, but you piss him off, you better get your insurance check and Wuhu Hospital in New York City.
Talk about my homie Red, man. Man, to be honest with you, I don't even know the first time we met, but like, me and him just clicked, which is weird because I don't really click with people like that because I'm an asshole. But I remember the first time I met Red. Well, it was one of the first times. I get goosebumps. It was the first time I had a chance to work at the ECW arena, and I was supposed to work the SAT. And one of the SATs were too young, and the commission wouldn't let them work the show. So Red teamed up with Joel, and you know, we worked Red, and I knew, and you know, the night before we had worked Mikey. So you know, we had a real good match with Mikey. You know, his squad was real hot at the time. The SAT was just coming up. Everybody was talking about the Spanish Fly and everything, and you know, Red was still, you know, getting his thing on. I don't even think he had the cornrows. Yeah, he just had the poof, the little afro. And I remember watching Red, but I really didn't meet him. I was watching him at the Elks Lodge and a lot of the things that he was doing. And I was like, oh shit, this kid's for real. But he's...
This is 2000, no, not even 2000, 1998, around there, in Arena, Puerto Rico, like old gym in Brooklyn, New York, like around there. And he used to come down with these guys called SAT. They weren't SAT at the time, they were Joel and Kelvin. And I was training one day and I saw like this little guy with like red hair and he was like doing flips and shit like that. And I was like, yo, who's this guy in the ring doing all these flips and stuff, man? It's a wrestling gym, you know, but I mean, he was doing it better than everybody else. So, you know, he had talent and whatever. So, long story short, we ended up becoming friends. We ended up going to Mikey Whipwreck school in Long Island and we got trained there. Long story short, we traveled all across the Indies. We made up moves, and now like all these other guys in the Indies, they do them now, and then they say they did them and stuff like that. But it's cool. We still make up more stuff, and yeah, basically, you know, he did real good. Went up to TNA, went up to Japan. He did a lot of things in Japan. Ended up becoming winning a lot of belts in TNA and a lot of stuff like that. And now he's got a really cool school, a lot of good students and whatnot. So I'm really proud of him. And he did real good in his life. And he's really young too, like me. And we still got a lot of things coming up ahead in the world, you know. We made up half of the stuff you see on TV, and we're gonna keep up making up more stuff, and we're gonna keep changing the wrestling business whether you like it or not.
The first time I saw a guy by the name of Amazing Red, I was instantly hooked. A guy that like really made me want to like step into the wrestling ring. I remember seeing him. He was such a small guy, such a guy from like 2000, 2001, 2002, like right when I was beginning high school. He was a guy that like me and all my friends, like we tried to get every tape we could that was Amazing Red, because we knew Amazing Red was doing the fly shit around on the indie circuit. And then we ended up getting into the SATs, and later on more wrestling. And then we find myself here today. So I'd really have to say that Amazing Red was one of the first guys in the indies that really got me enthralled into professional wrestling, and like really allowed me to notice that like not everything has to go by the same mold. It's not a rule that everything has to be like WWE, everything had to be like WCW back in the day. Like, this was a wrestler that could go in there and do stuff that no one had ever seen before, and was able to show that even small guys can have their niche in the professional wrestling business and live on in history. And in my opinion, Amazing Red will always live on to be one of the best cruiserweight wrestlers of all time.
The Wednesday pay-per-views, I remember watching Amazing Red and Low-Key going at it for the first time, and I was blown away. I was like, who's this guy? He's really good. And that's what kind of turned me on to TNA at the time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I remember we'd be in our backyard kind of doing his moves.
Yeah, I remember one incident, we put a mattress down in our backyard ring that our dad actually built us, and I would try the infrared from the floor.
Right.
I was, look man, I can do the infrared now.
And I remember we'd go to indie shows, and you know every dude there was doing the code red.
Oh,
It's like the most stolen move in wrestling history. I even stole it, but I do a reverse way. I'm going to a quesadilla through the legs.
Yeah.
That's amazing, right? I stole it.
I would have stolen it if I could do it. He's been very influential, I'd say, on the wrestling scene in general.
Yes, and innovative wrestling moves. Red's the guy. I think a lot of people have stolen stuff from.
I remember when I first met him, we were at Mikey Whipwreck's training school. I was in the beginner class, and as the beginning class had to leave, the advanced class would come in, which was SAT, Red, Quiet, Storm, and all those guys would say hi when they shook your hand, or when we shook their hand, they'd say hello, some kind of verbal cue to let you know that they're alive. But Amazing Red, he never opened his mouth. He'd shake his hand, but he never said anything. Half the time, and I don't even know if he remembers, half the time he would barely look up at you. He'd look up at you because he's respectful, but it'd be like, hey, I'm too lazy to lift my head up.
That's funny. That's funny.
It is funny.
Red's like the OG of indie wrestling. He's like the first indie wrestler I knew. I'd see tapes and go, whoa, that guy, who's that guy?
Him and Low Key, and I hated Low Key. I always wanted Red to win.
Red was always ready for Red, the underdog.
Yeah, I was a big mark. Oh, why Low Key's too stiff on this guy?
I think he's the first guy to really innovate that style, like the stuff that like Jack Evans does now, and
of course.
The stuff even Pac and you. I think Red's the first guy to really do it.
Yeah.
I think that he's been very influential, not only to wrestlers in general because of the innovative things he can do, but also because of his height.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he's so small, short, he's short.
Right.
And he's gotten so far in this business, I think it's given a lot of people, I don't know, the courage to actually go for it. Right. I mean, I definitely remember coming into Mikey's wanting to, my class, the beginner class, we weren't allowed to stay only because we had to catch a train later to get back home, but I do remember plenty of times not wanting to leave. I wanted to get in there with, mainly I wanted to get in there with Quiet Storm, who Red knows that I'm a big fan of, and Amazing Red. I just wanted to be a part of their class, because I felt like I kind of was one of those guys, and we're the same height. The Red's doing amazing in this business. I mean, every show I go to, he's on it, he's stealing the show. I wanted to be training with,
that's cool.
Nothing to say, nothing bad against Mikey. I mean, I love training with Mikey, but I almost was like, well, how come, I mean, you can't just let Amazing Red and Quiet
Storm more of yourself. Some more of yourself. That makes sense.
Red was someone that I always looked up to wrestling-wise. I mean, when I got into the business, I knew, like, I wanted to be the female Rey Mysterio, and I wanted to get in there and go like Red can. So, I mean, just the fact that, I mean, I'm close to him like family right now. That guy is my cuz, and I can't even tell you guys how thankful I am that he's been an awesome trainer to me. He's been an awesome friend, awesome family member. He's awesome, and, you know, he's always been one of those guys that is so humble, and you would think that with, you know, the success that he is and the talented person that he is, that he would be, you know, such an airhead, but he's one of the most down-to-earth, humble guys you will ever meet, and I don't know, I've had a great time with him. Unfortunately, we didn't get to work too much in TNA together, but I forever come into his school. I'm having a great time here, and I mean, he's the type of person that, you know, once you get to know, you're kind of like, you know, this is somebody that is good for the business, is good for, you know, anything that you need from him, and I can't thank him enough for being such an amazing person to me. No pun intended, but
this is something I've told him. I said this on the mic one time we worked in Germany. I said, Red's the kind of guy that never got the credit that he really deserved, and I think that also goes for, you know, the whole crew. You, Brian, SATs, all you guys. I think Red was a catalyst of the style that you see on the independents nowadays. I think a lot of people tried to copy and emulate Red and what he was doing, because what he was doing at first, nobody had ever seen on the independents. Nobody had seen it on television, and he was the kind of guy that kind of was the first. I always compare him to like Sabu, and Sabu was so important to me growing up and stuff, and we became friends. And I always used to tell him, man, I was like, I respect the hell out of you because you're the type of guy that never got the credit that you deserve. You influenced the style that carried on for years and years, and I think Red is in that category. He influenced the style of wrestling that you see nowadays as commonplace. You see a lot of guys on the independents that do the style that Red was doing first, and it's sad that, you know, he will never get the credit he deserves. I respect the hell out of him, not as a professional wrestler, but as a person, as a man. You know, I learned from him what it is to be a family man, a husband, and a father, and most of all, a human being. And Red, I love you, man. I love you.
He comes in and they grabbed some big wood that was in the backyard. I didn't even know it was. They grabbed the wood, they set it up. Red went through the wood. I was like, yo, he jumped, he grabbed it, he jumped, he went on top of the ladder, he jumped off the ladder, he started doing crazy things, and then I got so mad, I was right there, I was jealous. I was like, yo, he's gonna come to my spot, and he's doing all this crazy things that I can't do. So I was telling one of the guys from SAT, I was like, yo, let's jump him. And he was like real little, you know what I mean? And back then I was stupid, you know what I'm saying? Excuse my language. I was, you know what I mean? So I was mad, I was like, yo, I wanna beat him up, I wanna do this. Cause I was jealous, you know what I'm saying? Cause he came to my spot, he's doing things that I can't do. But later on, you know what I mean, we kept being around each other, doing like fake movies and wrestling here, and finding mattresses in the street and just jumping on them and recording. And then from there it was over. Like we got mad cool, and we went together to there was an abandoned church in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. And the guy, we used to pay the guy, and he let us do whatever we want in the ring. You know what I mean? We went in the ring. That was the first time we ever seen the ring. So we was in the ring and we used to do crazy things, but Red, he was unbelievable. Like, you know what I mean? This kid never got trained. I didn't understand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't hate him, but I was jealous of him. You know what I'm saying? I was really jealous of him, and I'm gonna be real. You know why? Cause he's like my brother right now. You know what I mean? And back then we was kids. I was like a little jealous because he was doing things that I never seen before, like these flipping, and I'm like, he never got trained. We just came in this ring and he's doing all this crazy stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was confused. So it made me want to step up a notch. You know what I'm saying? So truthfully, like, he motivated me. You know what I'm saying? Like to do the high flying things, all my motivation was from Red, not Rey Mysterio. And don't get it twisted. Like Ray and all Eddie Guerrero, I was watching them all my life and I loved them. But being there with Red, like, you know what I mean, and seeing it live, it was a motivation that I could sit here all day and try to explain to you. But the guy's like my brother, man, and we both, from there, we just kept doing our thing. We met Mikey Whipwreck, and from there, it was over, you know what I mean? Now we got our own wrestling school, you know what I mean, House of Glory, and that's mine and his school, you know what I'm saying? We partners, nobody else, just me and Amazing Red. I won't be able to do it, you know what I mean? It was God that gave it to us, but besides that, it got Red. If I would not have Red on my side, we would not be able to have the school, you know what I mean? It's because of him we got the school, so. Like, I appreciate everything, you know what I mean? I look at him like he's my brother. I would do anything for him. He's the godfather of my kid, and, you know what I mean? And he's a humble guy, you know what I mean? I used to see him on TV, and anytime because I stopped wrestling for a while, and I used to live in Florida, and every time he went on, I used to be like, yo, look, that's my brother right there, boom, he's doing his thing, boom, boom, and he always sticks out, you know what I mean? He always sticks out, and then when I haven't seen him in a long time, and then when I got to see him again, he was still acting different, same Red. You know what I mean? Humble and not no big head, because there's a lot of guys I knew that before they went, they made it. You know what I mean? And then now I see them now before they even got to TNA or WWE, and a lot of them don't react the same. They act like they don't, like, you know what I mean? They're just too cool for school, you know what I'm saying? But there's a handful that say the same, I mean, act the same, and that's Red. Red will never change, you know what I mean? He still acts the same. It don't matter where he's at, you know what I mean? He been all over the world, and me and him, our relationship, you know what I mean? He's one of my best friends, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard for me, you know what I mean, to explain it. But, like, yeah, I can't believe he got a documentary coming out, you know what I mean? Like, there's people that love him all over the world, man, and he deserves every bit of it. You know why? Because he's a humble guy. You guys, like, y'all see him on TV or independent. He's a real good kid, you know what I'm saying? And I would do anything for him.
A bunch of these kids say, hey, Mike, you know, we want to learn to wrestle. I said, okay, we want to learn to wrestle. I said, okay. I'll tell you what. I said, meet me at this place at this time. I'll teach you how to wrestle. I left it at that. And, well, they came to the time we were supposed to meet, and I parked up around the corner, and they came, I just didn't show up. I said, okay, let's see what happens next. So they told me the next show, they said, yo, Mikey, we were there. I said, oh, well, maybe I forgot, or maybe whatever, maybe I got the date wrong. I said, so come at this time, I'll meet you there, and we'll train you. Okay, so they came back, again, I parked around the corner, they showed up, I didn't show up. And he showed up again. I said, okay, well, third time. I said, okay, this time I'll show up. And they showed up.
As a fellow Boricua, you know, he keep his ground and go all over the world and become amazing the way he is. Like a lot of people talk about the 619. Let's talk about the 718. And it's not even including me. It's including people like Red, who's going out there, having tries for the WWE, doing so many independent promotion, going to 01 Japan Wrestling, going to TNA Wrestling. And my biggest opinion about TNA, I don't care that I got fired. But those people are very stupid to find this man.
You know, let alone the stuff in the ring. It's ridiculous. Like, before I broke in, I was watching him when he was doing JCW and when Ring of Honor first started, you know? Watching him out there being that underdog babyface, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, TNA and stuff like that, which they fucked up for letting him go, let's be honest about it, you know what I mean? You could have built him as an extreme underdog, you know what I'm saying? Like, and everyone loves an underdog.
He's also got a really deep New York accent too. So I don't know if we want to talk about that.
I don't know. I'm not sure how much people know of him already because not everybody knows that Red is. Once you get to know him, he never shuts up. Not only does he not shut up, he's probably one of the funniest people that you'll ever meet.
One thing about Red is I've never seen someone talk on the phone as much as Amazing Red. Like he'll be in the locker room just having like a quiet conversation for 3 hours in the corner. Shelby actually told me that. One time I paid attention.
Is he talking to his wife?
I think he's talking to his wife, which is a cool thing.
Awesome.
He's a family man. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why I think we like him so much. He's a good guy.
I think we relate to him a lot too. Like everything about him.
The dude's always on the phone.
Well, this guy is always on the phone too.
Right.
So.
I mean, all of them. Just from doing high spots, they had it. I mean, they had it down. But Red was like that natural. You know, piss me off, little motherfucker. Any little thing, picked up like that, like that, like that. It made it really easy to train. But he was a natural. So it was kind of my first instinction. This little kid, red hair.
Red actually volunteered. You know, he's like, listen, you know, you guys do this power bomb thing off the Eagle's Nest. Why don't you do it to me? So, you know, we did it to him, and it helped us really get us over in Philly. You know, taking a power bomb through 2 tables off the Eagle's Nest. And then, you know, I always thanked Red for that. You know, I always thanked him for that. And it was like a joke, you know, because Kelvin would say, oh, you know, you took it easy on Red, Bendito, you love him, this and that. When you gave him the burning hammer, you put him on his stomach. You know, but, you know, it's just people like Red, you know, you don't meet often in the business. He's an unselfish person, you know, and I kind of see him grow up in the business from where he started, you know, with Mikey and coming up, getting respect from a lot of people. You know, he's a tough little son of a bitch, man. You know, he takes a beating, you know, and he gives one too. He's a sneaky little bastard, you know, but it's all about respect, man. You know, I guarantee you, you walk anywhere in the Indies and you ask anybody about, you know, Jonathan Figueroa, about Red, you know, and there ain't one person that can say a bad thing about him. Not one person. You know, he's a special kind of person, you know, and now I see him with his son, who looks just like him, you know, and it's like, wow, you know, it's, you know, like, he went full circle, you know, he was on TV, he was on pay-per-view, you know, we did the Ring of Honor together, you know, and he's back here on the Indies, and he went full circle, he's got his son with him, you know, he's a special guy, now he's helping the younger guys, you know, and he doesn't forget, you know, how good people were to him, and I think that that's something that was instilled, you know, from Mikey. Mikey had a big heart, you know, and a real good heart with him, and he was always good to him. And, you know, Red, I think, is the same way, and he's going to help a lot of people.
I think we should talk about all the times we got stiffed by him. Has he ever stiffed you?
He got accidentally.
Don't tell him accidentally. Just say it.
What was it? A kick or something?
He gave me a really hard kick to the sternum, and to this
those
day,
spin kicks?
dude,
Oh my God.
to this day, like anytime I yawn, or I'm like, oh, sneezing is torture. I read this and I feel bad. He's gonna find out. No problem. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
He's caught me with a couple of those things. Yeah.
Did you get knocked out from one?
No, I never got knocked out. But it's like he tries to kick right through you. He's vicious with those things.
That's why I do that spin kick, actually, the 540 kick. So
Yeah. He does this thing we call duck one, take one. You guys know? Oh my goodness. Of course. We've done it plenty of times. I can only remember one time getting caught with it. Really
I'm proud. I love that kid. He's such a great kid, man. With such a great attitude, you know, unlike some of the other ones. Never fibbed, never, you know, use one person to get something else, or use them until something better came along. I mean, Red's just what you see. Red's what you get. Just a great kid, great wrestler, just talent, through the roof. I mean, I'm proud of him. He deserves everything he gets and more.
I just wanted to say I have 4 best friends in wrestling and outside of wrestling, and they're both the same 4 people. That 2 of them are the Young Bucks, which you guys saw me do a video with earlier. One of them is Sonjay Dutt, and the other one is Amazing Red. So those guys are my 4 best friends, and it goes without saying that because they're my best friends that I would actually go above and beyond to actually help these guys out. As Red knows, we've actually gone above and beyond for each other to help each other out in tough situations and stuff like that. But I would go so far as to say, because you guys don't know, I mean, I've slept at Amazing Red's house. He hasn't slept at my house, but that's only because I live in Florida, and him and Maria haven't worked their way out there yet. Even though I keep getting promises that they might sometime try and work their way out there, but hasn't happened
On
yet.
a personal note, Red, I love you. Can't wait to see you and kiss you on the neck. Love you, buddy. Very proud of you. Doing so great. Keep it up. Don't get hurt again. You end up like me, fat and crippled. You used to be fat. Remember when you were fat? Yeah, on your hiatus. You were chubby Red. Now you're sitting back in shape again. Wears no shirt. I can't do that. Imagine me with no shirt.
Don't film it. This guy's obviously on the phone too. They got videoing this.
Yeah. Paulie, put your phone away. You're supposed to be videotaping.
Yeah. Who's Brian though?
Brian Sexton. Oh, okay. You guys don't know Brian. He's thugged out. You better.
I know. You guys.
Brian's serious. Brian's real serious.